the Daily Ramble podcast. Hello, you lovely Hammers fans. I hope you're all well. It's Nick from Claret and Booze. The transfer window's drawing to a close. It's getting exciting. We're going to talk about that. And also, no sooner are we finished with Aston Villa, the dust has settled. The positivity is starting to build again, certainly for me, as we look ahead to Crystal Palace as well. So, first of all, sort of touching on the transfer window, we know that we've got a jam-packed squad. You know, I think we're at a capacity already of 25 players. I know that the likes of Freddie Potts, it looks like he's going to be going out to either Portsmouth or Wickham, who have come back in again for him on loan. So he's not going to be around the first team squad. I'm a little bit sad about that. I think he's earned a go, but I suppose when you look at the players that we're linked with, it will make sense why that's happened. And Zuma is a player that we know is not with the squad at the moment, but he's not gone. The player that the team that he went out to sign for, that we was giving him to, didn't want him. They didn't want to pay his wages. That he'd failed his medicals, so he's going somewhere else. We're going to end up paying Kurt Zuma off. It's as simple as that. The rumour is that we are looking or willing to listen to offers for Andy Irvine, Maxwell Cornet, Danny Ings, James Ward-Prowse, Kurt Zuma, Naif Agüer, Danny Ings, Thomas Souček. Those are the players that we're willing to listen to offers for. But it's whether or not that we can shift these players out and sort of get that wage bill down, because that's the bit. It isn't really spending money. We have got money there to spend, because you've seen the way that we can structure these deals anyway. You know, you can do buy now, pay later, like we did with Todibo. That's what we're doing with Soler as well. So I don't think that's an issue. It's getting that wage bill down. That's the most critical thing for us. So I'm hoping that I think we'll probably pay a few players off. Zuma's going to be one of them. We'll probably see Cornet go out. He's not going to get used. Maz will just pay him off, get him out, relieve the pressure from the wage bill. Danny Ings, similar. And hopefully we'll sell a few players as well. If that happens, then we know that we're going to be seeing a few players coming in. Soler is a player that is, look, I believe that we've already negotiated with the player. I think we've got an agreement in principle with PSG. It's 20 million. And that's a similar structured deal to that of Todibo. So he's coming in. We're also linked with another central midfielder as well. I'm assuming they're taking it for granted that if, not taking it for granted, they're planning that if Souček and or James Ward-Prowse go out the door, then they'll be able to go out and reinforce further by signing Manu Kone from Borussia Mönchengladbach. An explosive, powerful midfielder, more in the mould of Fofana. Exactly what we need, to be honest. A real engine in midfield. Be a brilliant player for us. Be an absolutely brilliant player. We've also signed Kante, Mo Kante, from Paris FC, a 19-year-old kid, central midfielder. So he's going to be not featuring with the first team squad, but a very talented youngster who's going to be playing with the under-23s, or he'll get loaned out. But a real good addition to the youth academy as well. He's highly rated, so yeah, we've signed Kante, just not the worldwide star that we all know. The Duran deal is one that is still bubbling on, but the longer it runs, the less likely it's going to be, because West Ham have got to understand that Aston Villa are reliant on Duran now, as he's the only backup striker that they've got. They do have other options and other targets, but if West Ham leave it till late in the window, that deal will not get done, because it will leave them no time at all to get a backup or a replacement in. They're obviously going at the Premier League, Champions League, domestic cups with only Ollie Watkins. It's not going to happen. So if we want that deal done, that's one that they're going to have to push a button on sooner rather than later. We're linked with Omaridian as well. A very, very good player. He was a player that we was linked with right at the start of the window. But we are, in this instance, it is a case of waiting for the dominoes to fall. And those dominoes are our players, freeing up space. We need players to go out. We've been left with such a kind of an unattractive group of players that are overpaid to the point where nobody wants them. We tried to sell Thomas Souček a couple of windows consecutively when he was on 80 grand a week. He's now being paid more. He's on 100 grand a week, I believe. And that's the thing, because you're not just trying to convince someone to pay money for a player, you're trying to convince them to take on their wages. It's very difficult. I think we're going to struggle. I don't think we're going to be able to sell Thomas Souček. I don't think we're going to be able to sell James Ward-Prowse. And we won't be able to sell Danny Ings. He's another one that I think we're going to have to pay off. So Aguerd could be a player that moves on. There's a few clubs that are interested in him, but we're going to take a massive hit on him. We'll take 50% of what we paid for him. So it is crap that we've been left in this situation, and it's encouraging now how ruthless that the club are being in trying to sort of clear the decks and rebuild. Because I'm pretty certain that if Tim could, he would get rid of all of these players, and Loppy would just have a completely new squad in here now. It's just not the way it works. We've got to get players out first. You know, it's harder to sell players than it is to buy them when they're unattractive. And we've said it before. I think now all of these clubs have got scouting networks. They've got these analyst teams. These kind of aging, highly paid stars, they're not going to be as attractive because an analyst will look at a profile of player, let's say a James Ward-Prowse, and they'll go 120 grand a week. You know, there's a player out in Chile we can pick up for 2 million on 30 grand a week that's as good, if not better. So this is why it's getting more and more difficult to move to move these players on. You know, Raheem Sterling, he's on ridiculous money at Chelsea. But look, he's a good player. He is a good player. He'd be good for us. Not that we need him. We don't need any more wingers. But who's going to pay his wages? He's on like 200-300 grand a week. No one's paying him that. No one's paying him that. So, yeah, you can say, look, these players have got to be realistic and they've got to accept lower, but they're not going to, are they? It's like with anything else. They're on ridiculously high wages, but whatever sort of money you're earning, you will live to your means. Nobody wants to take a pay cut. So, yeah, I think we're stuck with a group of players that fall into that category, unfortunately. I'm still confident that there will be movement. I'm hoping and praying that Duran comes in, although I'm getting less and less confident as a window does draw to a close. I'd be happy for us to sort of sit back and wait and go again in January for him, though, because we have got Füllkrug, we have got Antonio. Füllkrug, you know, he's not really had a chance to shine since he's been in. I've not been impressed with him. I've not been overly impressed with the profile of player that he is for a start. I'm not talking about his talent, but I think he's going to be a good player for us. I do. I think if he's used in the right way, I think Füllkrug is going to be a good player. He's not the type of player that can spearhead your attack, but if you drop him deep and you allow him to be, you know, the fetcher and carrier for all of the talent around him in Somerville, Kudus, Bowen, you know, those players could flourish based on the work that that Füllkrug does, and he will score because we're going to be getting in lots of crosses this year. We know that. So he's a clinical player. He is an upgrade on what we've got. So I do think that obviously patience is going to be required. And that's rich coming from me, right? Patience. But my sort of reactions at the moment with Lopetegui, and not because I'm not in support of Lopetegui, I'm entirely in support of Lopetegui. I just want him to succeed so bad because so many people, it seems, want him to fail, so they can do the I told you so, if you like. I think he's got a brilliant squad of players there now. Even with what we've got, I think we're going to be okay. In fact, it probably wouldn't be a terrible thing to just go with what we've got at the moment, really, because that's enough to be kind of galvanising into a team, and then you can add to it later on. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a little bit paranoid at the moment. I'm desperate for him to succeed. I'm sure he will. I'm sure we are going to see more changes brought in against Palace at the weekend. I think we will. Certainly a couple more. We know that, you know, hopefully Wan-Bissaka will come in. We know that Todibo will come in. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that Thomas Souček does come out, because it isn't just me. Everybody's talking about this now. You know, whether you watch Thomas Souček and you gauge his performances on the eye test, you know, visually judging him for what he does, or you look at him with numbers, he just fails on every front. He's not a footballer. He's not. He's good in either box. But, you know, the 70 yards of pitch in between, he's less than useless. It's as simple as that, unfortunately. So I'm hoping that he does the right thing, gets him out, and gives us a little bit more in central midfield, because the likes of Guido Rodriguez, who's new to the Premier League and he's got to adapt to it himself, he's going to need support. He's going to need someone in there with him that's going to actually do something in central midfield. And that will make us more efficient. It will give us a lot more in transition and make us look more of a complete team. You know, as I've always said, and John mentioned it on the weekend as well, if you lose a midfield, you lose a game. The midfield is the most important part of the team. It knits defence to attack. If you've got that wrong, which we've had wrong for the past year, that's why the team performances have been wrong, you know. So, look, that's it from me anyway. That's it from me anyway. I'm looking forward to the weekend now. I'm looking forward to Palace. The tension that I felt after the Aston Villa game has now subsided completely, and I'm looking forward to the weekend. I think we're going to see some changes. I fancy a win. Spoiler, I do. And I think we're going to see an improved performance, and it's going to be gradual. I think it's just, well, it will be. You know, common sense says that it's going to be gradual. It has to be. So, look, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, drop a like on the video. Please subscribe, and I will speak to you all soon. Come on. Claret and Booze are proudly sponsored by Fore Security Solutions. Fore Security specialise in electronic security and building intelligence. We provide a complete service suite from detailed design, expertly managed projects, as well as unparalleled 24/7 aftercare packages. If you've got any opportunities that we could assist you with in your business or at home, please reach out directly to me on the email at the bottom of the screen or via the details in the description of this video. Who knows, it might even be me that comes out to survey your requirements. Thanks for listening, and back to the show.